The forgotten CHENS, the stars looked quiet, but they hid the screams of Earth. Long ago, the galaxy watched as humans were dragged away from their world. No one helped, no one protested. The great species of the Galactic Union called it justice, they said, but it was a lie. The truth was simpler, humans were strong, and the galaxy was afraid, so they chose to destroy Earth. Not with weapons, but with chains, for 500 years. Humans were taken to mining moons, war factories, and alien labs. Their language was banned, their culture was erased. Children grew up not knowing what Earth even looked like. The name human became a warning, a curse spoken in fear by their captors. On the prison world of Vegran 6, a young girl named Ilara lived inside a dark, cold bunker. She had never seen sunlight. Her hands were covered in burns from mining acid. Every night, she listened to old stories whispered by the oldest slave stories about oceans, trees, and blue skies. She thought they were fairy tales, far away. In the frozen wastelands of Trellon 3, an old man named Commander Reek sat alone in a cell. Once, he had been a soldier. He led Earth's final defense when the galactic fleets came. He watched his army fall. He watched his world burn. They let him live only to study his mind, hoping to learn what made humans fight so hard. But even broken and alone, Reek never gave up. He waited, and deep inside Jupiter's black moon, hidden under layers of rock and time, something ancient stirred. A machine blinked to life after centuries of silence. Its sensors scanned the stars. Its mind checked the human DNA logs. When it found a match, it sent out a signal, silent, coded, unstoppable. 3 words: it is time. Across the galaxy, in secret caves and hidden labs, humans lifted their heads. On slave ships, old prisoners suddenly smiled. On dead moons, buried machines powered on. The resistance was not dead. It had never died. It had only waited for the last key to unlock the final weapon. In a secret chamber, Ilara's tiny ID tag lit up red. The guards thought it was a system error. But the old man in the next cell, who had not spoken in years, began to laugh. He whispered, "They remember." Meanwhile, on the planet Ulgaron, an alien council met in panic. Their screens showed strange news. Human prisoners had vanished from 30 labor camps in one night. Satellite images showed symbols drawn in ash across desert planets, symbols from Earth's ancient languages. And then came the video. A shadowed figure, wearing old Terran armor, stood in front of a burning alien ship. They said only this: Earth is not asking, Earth is judging. The signals spread like fire. Aliens who once tortured humans began to hide. Slave masters tried to escape, but nothing could stop it now. The humans had built ships in secret. They had stored weapons in asteroid belts. They had created codes, weapons, and alliances in silence. Now they were awake, and they remembered everything. Back in his cold prison cell, Commander Reek was finally free. Resistance fighters broke through the walls using silent tech no alien had ever seen. Reek stood tall, his back straight despite the years. His eyes were sharp. He put on his old armor, piece by piece, like a man returning from the grave. He looked at the stars and spoke without fear. 500 years ago, we begged for peace. You gave us chains. Now we return the favor. The first Titan-class warship entered the orbit of Zernak, a planet known for breeding human slaves. The ship had no nameplate, no markings. Only its size gave it a way larger than a moon, powered by an unknown engine. covered in black armor that bent light itself. From its speakers, a message echoed. All species who supported Earth's enslavement, your time is over. Panic hit the galaxy like a storm. But humans were not seeking war. They were seeking verdict, and this was only the beginning. Asterisk, echoes of the RSI Steans, if they called it impossible. The Galactic Union believed Earth was broken beyond repair. They laughed at the idea of a human resistance. To them, humanity was scattered, dust silent, weak, and forgotten. But dust gathers. Dust remembers, and when it rises, it blinds. The signal that echoed from Jupiter's hidden moon was not just a call, it was a trigger. It unlocked old commands buried in machines, codes written in DNA, and promises made in blood. Across 1,000 systems, those who carried the spark of Earth felt it burn in the deep jungles of Traxxas 4. Inside a cave that was once a medical lab, a woman named Lyra stood over a machine sealed by vines and rock. She was born a slave, beaten for speaking Earth's name. Her mother died building alien ships, but Lyra had learned to read forbidden files. She found the old plans. She memorized the maps, and when the signal came, she moved like a soldier. She placed her hand on the scanner. It accepted her instantly. The cave opened. Inside was a suit of armor, black, silent, and waiting. Not made of metal. It was something older, smarter, designed for one purpose, survival. Lyra put it on. It felt like home. On the ice world of Calvor, a factory exploded from within. The workers were human. The guards were not. But someone had, smuggled in parts. Someone had built a transmitter out of junk. When the signal came, it triggered a pulse. Explosives planted in the foundation lit up the sky. But one worker, scarred, blind in one eye, walked out of the fire unharmed. He carried a device that broadcast a warning in every alien language. Humanity is awake. The news reached the highest towers of the Galactic Council. Screens showed chaos. Labor ships were hijacked. Alien patrols vanished in empty space. Human-controlled drones disrupted ports. Even the most secure vaults were not safe. The Council's leader, Grand Archean Sizvan, sat frozen in his throne. "It is not possible," he whispered. "They were broken. They were finished." But one of his advisors showed him footage from a nearby system. A black warship entered orbit, silent, unnamed. Its weapons were not visible, but its power was clear. All ships nearby had shut down, like their energy had been drained. On the screen, a human face appeared calm, emotionless. "Trial Phase 1 has begun," the voice said. S, single quotes, VONN, stood up in fear. What trial? The answer came from another system on the desert moon of Karskia. A mining colony that used human slaves had just gone dark. The last image sent from their security cameras showed something terrifying. Hundreds of humans walking free, guards on their knees, and in the sky, a message burned in blue light: confess, or be erased. Commander Reek, now in full control of one of Earth's secret fleets, met with Lyra and other resistance leaders on a hidden base floating inside a gas giant. It was built from old cargo ships and invisible to sensors. Their council room was dark, with only one symbol on the wall, a simple Earth flag, burned and torn but still standing. Reek stood at the center. His voice was steady. "We were told to forget who we are, but we did not. We built this from pieces, from whispers, from ashes. The galaxy thought we were lost. They were wrong. Lyra stepped forward, her voice stronger than steel. For every child forced to mine poison, for every elder crushed under alien boots, for every mother who died nameless, we do not want war, we want truth, and we will tear down every wall that hides it. Their plan was not to attack every planet. It was smarter than that. The Resistance would choose targets with meaning, places where crimes were hidden. They would release files, videos, memories. Let the galaxy see what they had done. Let every species remember what they ignored. And then, after truth came out, judgment would follow. The next planet to fall was Zornus 3, known for its beautiful cities and peaceful lakes. It was also home to secret human auctions. Behind every building was a cage. Behind every smile, a lie. The humans did not bomb it, they hacked it. Every screen, every sign, every drone were taken over. The people were forced to watch as their darkest crimes played on loop. Footage of beatings, executions, children in chains. The planet begged for forgiveness, but the Resistance had already decided. Zornisri would be turned into a museum of shame. No death, no escape, just truth forever. And as ships flew overhead, one message remained glowing in the sky. The trial has just begun. The trial of Via. Here the galaxy was burning not with flames, but with fear. For the first time in centuries, the rulers of the stars were not hunting humans, they were hiding from them. Across 1,000 systems, the Resistance had moved silently, striking without warning. Their message was clear. This was not a war for land, power, or peace. This was a trial, and every species who had supported Earth's slavery was now a defendant. The Galactic Union tried to respond with force. Fleets were called, armies were raised, but the humans did not fight like before. They used silence. They used shadows. They attacked systems without firing a shot. On the rich planet of Draxil, home to one of the largest slave markets in history, the sky turned black for 5 full minutes, not from smoke or fire, but from something blocking. Their sun, when it passed, every power grid collapsed. The defense systems fell. The military couldn't move. And then the screens turned on. A face appeared, old, scarred, human. Commander Reek. He spoke only once. Let the galaxy see who you are. Suddenly, every hidden file, every buried video, every silenced scream was broadcast across the stars. The Draxil leaders begged for mercy, but there was none. Their punishment was chosen. Draxil was not destroyed, it was emptied. Its population was relocated to a synthetic, welder-perfect copy of Earth's worst prison camp. There, the former masters became laborers, watched by drones 24 hours a day. No comfort, no power, only the weight of what they had done. The galaxy watched and began to panic. The Resistance released a list of target 17 species marked for judgment. Each had once profited from Earth's pain. Some denied it. Others tried to surrender. But the humans were not interested in apologies. They were interested in truth. Lyra led the mission to Zarnux 7, a moon used for secret human experiments. Her ship was small, fast, and carried a weapon never seen before. She called it Echo Fire. When she landed, no one saw her. Her armor blended with the wind. Her boots made no sound. She moved through labs filled with alien tech and human bones. Every wall was covered in lies. Every room held pain. She reached the control tower. With one movement, She activated echo fire. It did not explode. Instead, it screamed. It sent out the final cries of every human who had died on that moon. Their voices, once silenced, now shook. The stars. Every city on Zarnik 7 was forced to hear it. Aliens covered their ears. Some ran, some collapsed. Some begged for it to stop. It didn't. It lasted 1 hour. Then silence returned, and every screen displayed 5 words. Earth has not forgiven you. The Galactic Council met in secret, deep underground, away from satellites and spies. They were no longer proud leaders. They were afraid, shaking, divided. Some wanted to surrender fully to Earth. Others wanted to fight. One leader cried out, "This is revenge, not justice." But no one answered, because deep down, they knew. This was the cost of silence. This was the price of centuries of cruelty. Back at the Resistance base, hidden in the clouds of Saturn, Reek and Lyra stood over a star map. Lights blinked across systems, some blue, marked as judged, others red, marked as awaiting. Their plan was working, but something darker was rising. Humanity had built weapons, not just to win, but to teach. One of them was called the memory engine. It could show anyone the pain of Earth's pastors if they lived it themselves. For those who refused to confess, this was the sentence. Lyra watched the first test on a captured alien general. He had laughed at her, called her species weak. But when the memory engine touched his mind, he screamed for 10 hours straight. When it ended, he dropped to his knees and whispered, "I saw it. I saw what we did." She did not speak. She only turned and walked away. Back on Earth now, rebuilt. In secret by the Resistance, people watched the stars with quiet hearts. Children born in the shadows now stood in sunlight. Elders who had waited 5 lifetimes smiled without speaking above them. The Judgment Fleet circled in orbit, shining like steel ghosts. Each ship carried a trial team. Each team carried names. One name, one story, one verdict at a time. This was not revenge. This was balance. And in the silence between stars, every species waited to hear the one thing they feared most. You are next. Broken EMPI The Galactic Union once ruled half the stars. Its laws controlled every ship, every trade, every species. It stood like a mountain tall, strong, unshakable. Now that mountain was crumbling, planet by planet, system by system. The fear of Earth spread like a storm. The trial fleets did not always attack. Sometimes they just arrived and hovered in silence. But that silence spoke louder than war. On the ocean world of Yurska, the leaders surrendered before a single shot was fired. They fell to their knees and broadcast their confessions. The humans accepted their words, but not their safety. Yurska's oceans were drained into space by Earth's graviton core, turning the planet into a barren desert. The crime, generations, of slave transport using underwater chains. They called it peaceful trade. Earth called it what it was. Drowning in chains, the Resistance did not act like conquerors. They did not stay. They did not take anything. Once the verdict was carried out, they vanished. But every time they left, the galaxy felt smaller. Inside the halls of the Galactic Council, nothing was the same. Seats once filled by proud rulers were now empty. The leaders of 6 species had disappeared, taken by human strike teams. Their trials were never made public. Only their names appeared later on a digital wall titled Judged. Even allies began to turn on each other. Old friends now feared who would be named next. Paranoia poisoned every treaty. Empires that stood for centuries were now afraid of their own citizens. One night, on the icy moon of Sarvin, the leader of the Volari species, Lord Trock, was killed by his own guard. The guard left a note written in Terran script. My family was sold to your traders. I watched them die. This is my judgment. The chaos grew. Some planets banned human history out of fear. Others began teaching it out of guilt. Some tried to erase their records, but the resistance had already copied everything. There was no hiding from the past. Even species that once ruled proudly now begged Earth for talks, mercy, or delay. But Earth gave none. Instead, a message was sent across the galaxy. No video, no sound. Just one line of text. Mercy was asked centuries ago. In the Resistance command room, aboard the flagship Vengeance of Dawn, Reek watched the collapse with steady eyes. His body was older now, but his voice had not changed. He turned to his officers and said, "They thought we would come to destroy, but we are not here for destruction. We are here to remind them what they buried." Lyra stood next to him, watching reports come in. A new fleet had just been spotted above Arvox Prime, a rich, untouched planet that once held private auctions. For human children, she whispered, "Do they even remember what they did?" Reek answered without blinking, "They remember. They just thought no one else would." This time, Earth did not send weapons to Arvox Prime. They sent survivors, dozens of former slaves, who had escaped or been rescued, now stood in the capital's public square. Their scars were real. Their eyes were fire. They told their stories, one by one, to a live broadcast watched by trillions. No shouting, no rage, just the quiet truth. The galaxy wept, but Earth did not. The verdict was read at dawn. All Arvak's leadership removed. All wealth redistributed to survivors. Planet placed under watch until further notice, and with that, the Resistance fleet vanished into the stars once more. But something strange happened. Next, some alien civilians began to side with Earth. They had seen the truth. They had read the files. They had watched the videos. Some had even found the remains of old Terran children buried under their own streets. And they realized they had been lied to for generations. On several planets, protests began. Statues of former rulers were torn down. The words "never again" were painted in Terran script on palace walls. One species, the Garrity, went further. They deposed their emperor. They opened every secret archive. They handed over every document. To the Resistance, Rake's response was simple. Your trial is postponed. The Resistance had never asked for help, but now help was arriving. The broken empires were splitting from within, not by force, but by shame. The truth had become Earth's strongest weapon, and it was only getting sharper. The last VR Diacity, the stars had changed. Not in their shape, not in their light, but in their silence. Once, they echoed with human cries, ignored by the galaxy for generations. Now, they held their breath, waiting for Earth's final decision. There was only one target left. The core of it, or the home of the Galactic Union. A world known as Veltrax Prime. For centuries, it was the heart of law, control, and power. From its cold white towers, orders were sent to enslave Earth. From its courts, the chains were declared legal. From its silence, the galaxy was told to forget. But Earth did not forget, and now Earth had arrived. The sky above Veltrax filled with shadows. Over 50 Titan-class warships, silent, slow, and massive entered orbit without resistance. Not one weapon was raised. Not one missile was fired. The people of Veltrax watched from their glass cities as the sky darkened. Then, a beam of light fell from the largest ship. It was not a weapon, it was a stage, a trial, built from polished steel, engraved with human names. It hovered above the capital and lit up every screen, every device, every broadcast. One voice spoke, heard across the galaxy. It was Reek. This is not a war, this is your mirror. Then, from the shadows, they came not soldiers, not leaders, but survivors. Children grown old in alien minds, women who gave birth in chains, men whose eyes had seen 1,000 deaths. They stood together on the platform, silent, no anger, no tears, just truth. Veltrax leaders were called by name. Each was shown footage. Each was asked a simple question. Do you deny it? Some collapsed, some screamed, some tried to lie, but none could hide. The memory engine was activated once more. The people of Veltrax were forced to feel what humans had felt. Their own minds were flooded with Earth's pain. Their own hearts beat with guilt they could no longer escape. And then, without force, they confessed. One by one, they fell to their knees and begged for judgment. But Earth did not give it immediately. Lyra, standing beside Reek, spoke for the first time in public. We are not here to destroy your world. That would be easy. We are here to do what you refuse to do for us. We are here to give you a choice. She pointed to the stars. You will erase the system that allowed slavery. You will teach every child what you did to Earth. You will build no statues for heroes, only graves for the forgotten. And you will leave this council forever. The leaders looked at one another. They had no answer, because Earth had already spoken. A final message was sent from the Resistance. Fleet, marked with Earth's symbol on, ancient tree growing through a broken chain. It read, "The trial is complete. No empire is eternal. But truth is." And then the ships disappeared, silent once again. Back into the black sea of space, Veltrax Prime remained standing, but it was no longer proud. Its skies were quiet, its cities still. Its people changed. The galaxy shifted. Empires began to rebuild, but not on fear. Species that once profited from human suffering now honored Earth's pain. Every year, on the day of Earth's freedom, a broadcast played across every system, a recording. A human mother, standing in an alien courtroom, holding a lifeless child. Her voice shaking but clear. If humanity ever rises again, may the stars remember this moment. And they did. In the hidden shipyards near Saturn, the Resistance no longer hid. They trained the next generation not for revenge, but for protection, for memory, for peace. One day, a child asked Reek why they spared Veltrax. He looked at the stars and answered, "Because mercy is the one thing they never gave us, and the strongest verdict is choosing not to become what hurt you." The child nodded, silent above them. Earth's flag waved, torn, scarred, but alive. The final verdict had been written not in fire, but in truth, and the stars would never forget it.